If you're thinking about getting the GIGABYTE B850 Gaming WiFi6 motherboard for your next AMD build, because it promises killer connectivity and support for the latest Ryzen processors, you're in the right place. But here's what surprised me. It's not all smooth sailing with this board, despite its high price tag and glowing specs. In fact, while it's loaded with features like PCIe 5.0, DDR5 compatibility, and triple M.2 slots, some glaring issues might make you think twice before hitting buy. So stay tuned, because I'm going to break down what you really need to know about the B850 Gaming WiFi6, what works, what doesn't, and whether it's worth your hard-earned $170 or not. Let's face it, buying a motherboard can feel like navigating a minefield. You want power, stability, and future-proofing without shelling out a fortune or dealing with headaches. The B850 Gaming WiFi6 looks like a beauty on paper, supporting AMD Ryzen 7000, 8000, and even the upcoming 9000 series CPUs, packed with DDR5 support, a decent 6+2+2 power phase design, and some serious heat dissipation. But as I dove deeper, some performance quirks and connectivity oddities popped up that are worth your attention. So whether you're a gamer, content creator, or enthusiast tinkering with the latest tech, here's what you need to know before making your choice. First, let's talk features, because this is where the B850 Gaming WiFi6 tries to shine. AMD's AM5 socket motherboard lineup is flooding the market, but GIGABYTE has integrated a solid set of specs here. The board supports the Ryzen 7000 series and downward compatible with future generations, which gives you some upgrade flexibility. No small feat when Ryzen 9000 is just around the corner. Plus, 4 DDR5 DIMM slots mean up to 128 GB of high-speed memory can juice your system. That's critical for anyone running heavy applications or high-end games. The triple PCIe 5.0 M.2 slots. Yes, please. Lightning-fast NVMe SSD storage options are baked in, ensuring your load times stay razor-sharp. But here's where the first snag appears. While PCIe 5.0 and multiple M.2 sockets sound amazing, the bandwidth distribution and thermal management aren't flawless. The fully covered MOSFET heatsinks do a great job on paper at handling power delivery heat, but users have reported hotspot issues when all M.2 slots are loaded and the GPU is maxed out. For those pushing their systems hard, this could throttle performance unexpectedly. The 6+2+2 power phase design is solid, but is somewhat less robust than what you find on higher-end X670 boards. So if you're overclocking or running a Ryzen 9 7950X Beast, you might notice power stability limitations. It's kind of like getting a sports car with an economy engine. Looks great, but doesn't quite let you stomp the accelerator full throttle. Now, connectivity is another mixed bag. The onboard Wi-Fi 6 module is decent and gives you good wireless speeds, but not quite the ultra-low latency and range that premium Wi-Fi 6E boards offer. If you're gaming competitively or streaming in 4K, some users complain about occasional dropouts or needing to rely on Ethernet for stable connections. USB-C is available, which is nice, but the overall USB port layout feels limited compared to some competitors, especially if you have multiple peripherals. Remember, modern setups can get cluttered quickly, so a diverse port selection is key. This brings me to a question. Who exactly is the GIGABYTE B850 Gaming WiFi6 for? If you're an average gamer or mid-level user who wants a modern AM5 motherboard that handles gaming and everyday streaming without breaking the bank, this board seems tailored for you. It's certainly cheaper than some flagship X670 models, making it a tempting value buy. But if you're a serious overclocker, professional content creator relying on constant heavy workloads, or someone who demands flawless connectivity, this might not quite hit the sweet spot. It's a solid middle ground but not a powerhouse. Think of it like the trusty sedan, comfortable and reliable, but not a Tesla Model S. I want to share a quick story from a friend who grabbed the B850 Gaming WiFi6 expecting top-tier performance. At first, he was impressed by how smoothly his system booted and the fast DDR5 RAM multitasking. But after a few weeks of heavy gaming sessions paired with recording and streaming, he noticed unexpected frame drops and occasional system freezes. After some troubleshooting, it turned out to be power delivery limitations combined with M.2 heat throttling, something that no amount of driver updates completely solved. So, while it's easy to be wowed by specs on a box, real-world use tells a different story. That's why I emphasize understanding your needs before committing. Here's a quick joke break because tech reviews can get dry. Why did the CPU break up with the motherboard? It felt they just weren't compatible anymore. Okay, back to the heat sinks. Gigabyte's implementation for MOSFET cooling is noteworthy. The fully covered heatsinks are a good attempt to dissipate heat from the power circuitry, which should help with long-term durability. However, users have noted the thermal pads used are a bit thin, leading to hotspot formations under extreme load. If you plan on pushing your system hard, investing in extra case airflow or aftermarket cooling solutions might become necessary. Motherboards aren't just plug-and-play these days. They require thinking about your entire thermal ecosystem. Another subtle but important point to mention is BIOS stability and support. Early reviews from the tech community highlighted that initial BIOS versions shipped with some quirks, including occasional boot issues and laggy memory compatibility profiles. Gigabyte has released updates addressing many of these bugs, but updating BIOS can be intimidating for first-time builders. If you're not comfortable flashing your motherboard BIOS, you might want to get help or double-check that your board comes with an updated BIOS version from the seller. It's like buying a car that needs a software update before hitting the road. Not ideal, but manageable. Before I rehook you with some closing thoughts, here's another joke for the nerds out there. Why did the gamer bring a ladder to his desktop? Because the FPS were through the roof. Now you're probably wondering, despite these issues, is there a silver lining here? Absolutely. The B850 Gaming WiFi6 is priced competitively at around $170, making it an accessible entry point for the AM5 platform, with the advantage of DDR5 and PCIe 5.0 features. For a mid-tier gaming build, this board offers respectable performance and future-proofing, especially if you're not planning to push the CPU to its limits. The onboard Wi-Fi 6, solid audio codec, and decent connectivity round out the package nicely. Let's address the elephant in the room. How does it compare to boards around its price range? Well, many alternatives do offer beefier power phases or better thermal handling, but they often jump in price closer to $200, $250. If your budget is tight but you want AM5 compatibility without missing out on the latest standards, Gigabyte's B850 Gaming WiFi6 strikes a good balance. Also, the brand reputation and steady driver support mean you're not flying completely blind here. However, if you anticipate heavy multitasking, extreme overclocking, or prosumer workloads, considering an X670 or B650 board with a stronger power delivery system might be wiser. Time for a final joke. What do you call a motherboard who's an expert at music? The sound card. It's a bit cheesy, but hey, a good motherboard does help produce better audio experiences, and the onboard audio of the B850 Gaming WiFi6 isn't bad at all. So wrapping up, the Gigabyte B850 Gaming WiFi6 is a solid option for mid-range gamers and everyday PC builders who want AM5 socket support with modern features like DDR5 and PCIe 5.0 at an approachable price. However, some thermal challenges and power delivery limitations mean it's not without compromises. If you fall into the casual to moderate user category, this board will service you well and deliver good value for $170. But if you want to squeeze every ounce of performance under heavy loads, double-check your build needs first. That said, Gigabyte's commitment to regular BIOS updates and user-friendly features makes it a reliable choice for most users. Plus, that triple M.2 slot setup. Worth a high five if you ask me. So, don't let the minor flaws deter you if you're aiming for a balanced build that won't break the bank. If you want to grab the GIGABYTE B850 Gaming WiFi6 for the best price, I've dropped the Amazon link in the description below. Check it out before the deal disappears. Remember, every build is a journey, and this board is a worthy travel companion for many gamers and creators out there. Thanks for sticking around and happy building.